What's going on, everybody? Welcome into another live edition of Always Talking Ball here on Tuesday night, November the 12th. We just finished watching Kansas beat Michigan State, and now we are getting to the college football playoff rankings. It'll probably fly by pretty quickly because they only have about 25-30 minutes here before the Duke-Kentucky game. So if you're following along with us live, we appreciate that very, very much. We're going to react to the rankings live. We're watching it right here. If you're listening to this on podcast on Wednesday morning, you probably watch the rankings. So just imagine that they're popping up on your screen as we're going to see it's here. So yeah, I mean we're gonna try this out. Lance, what are a couple things before they start unveiling stuff? What are some teams you're looking for to see how they're ranking?
Yeah, I want to see what they've done with, obviously Miami and Georgia both lost this past weekend. Interesting to see where they have the Canes after their, a bad loss to Georgia Tech. We have ton of respect for Brent Key and think that Brent Key and the Jackets are solid. But, I mean, we talked about it, man, in our last episode. Dude, they had legitimately like third string and former walk-ons that they gave scholarships to that Georgia Tech was playing in that game that they gave scholarships to in October
Yeah,
that were playing key roles on offense for Georgia Tech that were running the football against Miami.
yeah,
And so just interested to see what they do with the Canes because they had Georgia ahead of Miami last week. And some of the projections that we've seen that On3 put out had
right.
Miami ahead of Georgia that they think that the committee is going to have tonight. So I'm looking for that.
Yep.
Obviously, we're looking for the two teams that everybody keeps talking about right now, Indiana and BYU. Where are they at? For those that want to say that the rankings don't matter right now and where you're at right now, like freaking Joey Galloway did last weekend live on that show, it absolutely matters. And the reason is because like we said, if Indiana, let's just say they're six tonight, I mean, that's going to be maybe they do drop them six spots. But if they were to lose a close game to Ohio State, that'd be tough if they're all the way up at six to drop them completely out of
Right.
the top 11 or 12. I mean, maybe they do. I don't know.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for that. Where's Bama after their big win in Baton Rouge? How far do they move up?
Yep.
I believe they were 11 last week. So
hmm
where's the Tide this week? And then I have preached forever to all of my friends and family and everybody that watches these CFP selection committee shows that if you believe in conspiracy theories or anything like that with this selection committee, one of them that I subscribe to is I believe that they justify who they're putting in the top four and now in the top 12. They'll be justifying who they want to put in by who they have ranked. And so rankings like 18 to 25, who they sneak in the top in the 20 to 25 range.
Right.
That kind of tells you because at the end of the year, they'll sit there and say, well, teammate, whoever it is, so and so's got this many ranked wins. And they're including like those teams that are sitting there ranked, obviously 20 through 25. That's
hmm
ranked. So where's South Carolina tonight? Where are the Gamecocks?
Right.
Where's Mizzou? Like you've said, you don't think Mizzou should still be ranked. Where are they ranked? Are they still ranked? Uh, we believe that South Carolina should be higher than what we think they're going to have tonight. We project them. Most projections have them somewhere around that 22 to 23 range. And man, after they've just thrashed Texas A&M, and then they beat Vandy at Vandy, like handled Vandy at Vandy, which Alabama couldn't do, which Texas couldn't do, which a lot of teams couldn't do. So where do they have the Gamecocks?
Yeah.
Where do they have Louisville? Louisville
Yeah.
obviously has played Miami and some other team, Notre Dame. So that could be. I see now that the old Booger and Joey Galloway, who doesn't care about the rankings right now, and McElroy, they're coming up on the screen now. So I'm sure they'll be releasing it any minute. Do you have
Yeah.
anything you want to add about what was interesting that I'm looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking to see if they just move teams up and down based on wins and losses like they usually do. I mean, is that Alabama win over LSU, is that going to be impressive enough to hop them over Notre Dame? Right? I mean, Notre
Yeah,
Dame won very impressively too, but albeit against a lower opponent in Florida State. So,
yeah,
what do you do with that? Are they just going to move Penn State, Tennessee right up there? I mean, it's interesting how they're going to do it. We'll see if we get any answers. I don't know if they're even going to have time to talk to him tonight. And the head of the committee, but
This is
it's
Joey
going to be interesting.
Galloway's dream tonight, man. He didn't have to sit around and actually give any answers or debate anything.
I mean, I would hope maybe week 2 he's like, okay, maybe we got to get a little more serious about this, right?
Yep. It looks like here we go. All right, so they've got Tulane at 25.
Okay, hopping in there.
Yeah,
So that means probably Pitt. I'm guessing Pitt fell out.
probably.
Yeah, I'd be
There's
shocked if. I
your
mean,
there's your most profitable team that you keep winning best bets on with Army,
there you
undefeated
go,
at
Army.
24. All right, so they're going to have South. Well, I assume they're going to have South Carolina in the rankings. They've got Missouri at 23. So does that
Like
mean
we said, South Carolina should be ahead of Missouri.
Ooh, LSU down at 22. So they're going to have South Carolina ahead of LSU unless they just don't have South Carolina in the rankings at all.
That's a big fall
That is a huge.
for.
There they are. There's the Gamecocks. There's 3 SEC teams back to back to back. South Carolina at 21, LSU at 22, Missouri at
That
23, Army at 24, and Tulane at 25.
that's interesting because they do have a head-to-head there, and LSU did beat South Carolina, and they got the same record.
Yep.
And that's
Good
that's one of
point.
the few times you're going to see that.
That's a good point, man. Yeah, LSU won the head to head there. So, all right, here's what gets dude, this is already good stuff. So, and they've got Clemson at 20.
Clemson at 20. Okay,
Clemson comes in at 20. All right. If South Carolina takes care of Missouri this weekend, that sets up an interesting showdown there between South Carolina and Clemson at the end of the year in that rivalry game.
Louisville at 19.
Louisville at 19.
Yeah,
I'm
some
a little,
people say that South Carolina Clemson game is not a big rivalry, but I don't know.
yeah. What's that rivalry called again? Is it the
Palmetto Bowl, I think.
Palmetto
Yeah.
Bowl? Yeah.
Okay, Washington State up 3 spots.
Ooh, cool. Wazoo and the Palouse.
They've got a
That's interesting
schedule
that they've got
similar.
Louisville. That's intriguing to me that they've got Louisville a few spots ahead of South Carolina like that.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
Yeah,
We got to write that down.
agreed. There's Coach Prime and the Buffs at 17. Like you pointed out on our most recent episode, they've been added to our graphic of all the teams that control their own destiny. Colorado now in the Big 12
Yeah.
controls their own destiny to make the college football playoff. Could you imagine Shadur and Travis Hunter and Coach Prime making an appearance in the CFP, man?
Yeah. I mean, all these teams are just, again, this is what they're doing. They
All right,
move
so there's
teams
a head to
down.
head.
They move teams down, but they're just moving all these teams up 3 spots. You can see they all moved up. That's
Yeah,
it.
you're right. 3 spots, 3 spots, 3 spots, 3 spots. Well, there's an interesting one there with Kansas State being ahead of Colorado. Obviously, Kansas State did beat Colorado at Colorado, so that's different than LSU and South Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
A&M
A&M at 15.
dropping a
Huh.
spot. So
Interesting,
they didn't play.
right?
So they have
Did they move up? I
was
don't. I can't.
Was A&M ahead of Ole Miss?
They might have been.
Ole Miss
I can't
16.
remember. Yeah, I can't remember. I really can't remember.
Yeah.
So here's that. By the way, I love this graphic that they use now that shows a bracket like all of us March Madness hoops fans
Oh yeah.
seeing a bracket with college football.
Yeah.
Sick. Freaking
Yeah.
sick, dude. Love it.
SMU. Okay,
The
second team out.
Ponies at 14.
By the way, thanks to everybody joining in, watching right now.
Yep.
Share it. It would be awesome if you guys shared it. It'd be great. Yeah, this is great. Great turnout. So Boise State is in at number 13. So they dropped a spot too. So then, yeah, Ole Miss jumped to Boise State. That makes sense.
Yeah. Our boy Slip Bayless, he said the boys are live right now. We're gonna be ripping some non-ball knowers tonight.
Yeah. There's Georgia, first team out.
Woo!
Number 12. So they got Miami ahead of Georgia.
Georgia's all the way down at 12.
Georgia dropped to 12. We had them at 11 in our poll.
Whoa, dude.
Again, with Boise State not being ranked, that knocks them as the first team out.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, obviously they're going to, if they beat Tennessee this weekend and they do it handily, then they have all the opportunity in the world to hop back in.
Look, man, for the people that pound the table of the strength of schedule stuff, we do it as well. But obviously this committee, with this pick, having them all the way down at 12, weren't they 3 last week?
Yeah.
Whoo, bruh.
Number one strength of schedule.
Number one strength of schedule. The Dogs, who have been one of the obviously the best programs in the country,
Mhm.
year in and year out, all the way down at 12. Ole
There's
Miss
Ole
at
Miss.
11. We obviously disagree with that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm glad they have Ole Miss ahead of Georgia at least, but
Yeah, dude. With sorry, man, old Nelly's trying to make an appearance here. See the people.
she wants to get on the live show.
Yeah, dude. All right, look, man. Ole Miss at 11. I mean, I know we're going to talk more about it here in a minute, but with all the metrics and all the numbers and all of the stuff that tell you how good this football team is, and then to just shellac Georgia like they did, like physically, into only
Committee clearly doesn't think a lot of Georgia though. I mean,
well, obviously, but like
well, they
okay,
had
what
them at
about
3, so
yeah,
it's just confusing.
yeah, and then South Carolina they rank.
There's
There's
Bama.
Bama at 10, so Bama moves up one spot, dude. They've literally okay. Here we go. I said it,
Miami's
man.
ahead of Alabama.
Miami's going to be ahead of Alabama. I may break this microphone.
What? Oh my
Whoo, dude,
gosh.
I'm fired up. I am pissed, dude. This is ridiculous.
So it's
And
like
for the folks that's like to say that these rankings don't matter at this time of the year, that's fine. You probably should go find some other show to listen to or watch because we care at this moment.
there's Miami. All the way down to number 9, they get the number 4 seed. So that means BYU is going to be the 3 seed.
Hey, folks, that think that maybe we're crazy for thinking that this is so egregious. Georgia was ranked ahead of Miami last week. Georgia just lost to the team that this committee has is ranked number 11 in the country. Okay? On the road. And Miami just lost to Georgia Tech, got ran over
Yeah.
by Georgia Tech. Like that was not in doubt. Georgia Tech spanked Miami.
Yeah.
And they have Miami 3 spots ahead of Georgia.
Yep.
Yikes.
Notre Dame coming in at 8, Tennessee coming in at number 7.
Wait,
So Georgia's got an opportunity to beat the number 7 ranked team.
am I seeing this wrong? Oh yeah, Tennessee's ranked number 7, but they're the 8 seed. Sorry.
Yeah, the 8 seed, yeah.
Yeah.
Because Miami gets the 4 seed because
Dude,
we
again,
love
that is-
automatic bids.
We can go ahead and start getting like all happy with ourselves thinking about these matchups. Like if you're just projecting, I know this is not how it's going to be at the end of the year, but dude, how sick would that be? Notre Dame at Tennessee.
Yeah, so BYU is at 6. So they did, correct me if I'm wrong, was Tennessee ahead of BYU and Indiana last week?
I believe they were. I can pull that up while they're
Yeah,
sitting
pull
there
that
taking a
up
break.
because
Yeah,
I
can
think
pull that up.
I was just assuming they were going to put
Yeah.
Penn State and Tennessee and just move them right up because they both won.
Yeah. While we've got a
But-
break, like while they got a break doing this, do you happen to have the live chat pulled up by any chance? I don't know if it's working or not. I'm just curious.
I got the live chat works on YouTube and Facebook, so we appreciate that. On Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it, it
Yeah.
is not exactly up there yet.
Okay. So they've got BYU at 6. They're the 3 seed right now as of right now.
So BYU at 6, so that means Indiana is top 5.
Yeah.
And
Coach
so they must. I mean,
Six.
they really must be respecting. They talked about Texas's win
Yeah.
at Michigan too. There's Indiana
Yeah.
as a 7 seed hosting
Wow.
Alabama
Wow, man.
round 1. You want to come to Bloomington?
Unbelievable.
Wow.
So yeah, they had Tennessee last week at 7, Indiana at 8, and BYU at 9. So Indiana plays their closest game of the year
Move up 3
and
spots.
moved them up 3 spots, dude.
Alabama beats a ranked team on the road by 29 and moves up 1.
Destroys them. Yeah, man, gonna have some problems. We'll wait till they get done here, but we've been pounding the Indiana drum.
So we can just assume
Since
that
July.
we can just assume Penn State's 4, Texas is 3, Ohio State's 2, and Oregon's 1. I'm assuming.
Bro. So 3, 4, and 5. So the best win for the teams that they're going to have ranked 3, 4, and 5 is it Vandy? Seriously. Is Texas's win over Vandy at Vandy the best win? Am I missing something?
No, I mean probably power rated. Probably power rating there. I mean, I'd have to look into it, but yeah, power rating.
Yeah. I mean, Texas and Indiana
Manual
have
in
a
the live chat says you think they are trying to have two ACC teams in the playoffs. Miami ahead of Georgia makes no sense.
correct. Miami ahead of Georgia, Miami ahead of Alabama, but Miami ahead of Georgia makes zero sense. Like literally zero.
So are they trying? Yeah, he's wondering if they're trying to just sneak two ACC teams in there somehow.
They might be, man. Look, if you subscribe to the conspiracy theories of the human element here with this committee, when you bring in the human element and you get rid of the old days of the BCS and the computers that completely base everything off metrics and numbers, uh, yeah, you said it, man. That you think that this committee is just going to try to please
Yeah,
everybody, and putting 5 or 6 SEC teams in, you think that's going to please everybody?
right.
After
Yeah,
what happened last year with the backlash of putting Alabama in over Florida State and everybody throwing out the conspiracy theories that because ESPN owns the rights to the SEC, that they're just, yeah,
Mhm.
dude. Uh,
Sharia says Greg Sankey's going to have to do some major politicking. The actual rankings are embarrassing. They're valuing crappy schedules much higher than actual games played.
agreed. Who
Yep,
said that?
Sharia.
Sharia ball knower.
Sharia's a ball knower. Yeah. So, whew,
Buckeyes 2, Texas 3. I mean, yeah, we 1, 2, and 3, 4. We had top 4 pretty much pegged what we thought it was going to be.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, look, okay. Since now we've got the rankings here, I
yeah.
know
Let's
you're
break
going
it
to be
down.
working on pulling some different things
Yeah.
up and whatnot, but let's go ahead and start. So for those that may not have it pulled up, you had Oregon 1, Ohio State 2, Texas 3, Penn State 4, Indiana 5. Can't get over the fact that Indiana's a top 5 team. Hey man,
Real
good for
quick.
Coach Diggs. To
Yeah,
what?
real quick. Slip says they're setting it up to boot the SEC. Low 20s head to head means the loser is no longer ranked, and stacking the bottom of the 12 that way means that's very important.
I don't disagree. I mean, he's right. When you've got a bunch of teams sitting there, Georgia, Ole Miss, and Alabama all sitting there around that 10, 11, 12, 13 range,
Mm-hmm.
any of those teams lose, gone. Or if somebody behind them move up, uh,
When you thought, I mean, South Carolina plays Missouri this week, so Missouri loses that game, they're not going to be ranked anymore.
nope, nope. I don't
So
think
the
I don't know
loser's
if
no longer
Missouri
ranked.
Missouri would have to finish the season. If Missouri finishes the season 9-3, whether people want to agree or not, they probably would end up ranked. But you're right. After they lose to South Carolina, like immediately they won't be ranked anymore. But if they win their last 2 games and finish the season 9-3, they
Yeah.
may sneak back in there around 24 or 25. But to our boy Slips, you know, to his point there, and to my point earlier, if they don't want to put Alabama or somebody that's played Missouri from the SEC that's in the back of there at the top 12 and give them another ranked win, they won't rank Missouri
Yeah.
in that spot.
Yeah.
All right. So, to a few people's point already that have made this point on Twitter, uh, I've been pounding the drum on this for a couple of weeks now, and I'm going to really pound it now. We said that when they made this 12-team playoff, that it needs to be extremely important for the integrity of the sport, for the people that love the great non-conference matchups, for the people that love to watch the best teams go against each other in the regular season. Based off how they have this right now, again, it could be different at the end when they actually put the 12 teams in at the final committee's rankings on who they put in. But as of this right now, what this is telling us is just go schedule the weakest non conference opponents you can possibly schedule, go beat those teams' brains in,
Mm-hmm.
and then just go 11-1. Like, go 11-1 against a really weak schedule, at least 11-1, you'll be in the playoff. That's
Yeah.
all you got to do. Just go schedule Western Carolina and UConn and somebody else. Go Hawaii, beat them to death. Don't go schedule anybody tough. Why would you? And for the people that want the SEC so badly to schedule non-conference, I know you have been one that wants that really bad. Me as a fan that wants to watch really good matchups,
Yeah.
hell yeah.
Yeah.
I'd love to see Alabama instead of playing Mercer this week. I'd much rather watch Alabama line up this week against somebody better, as a fan.
Yeah.
I'd much rather watch Tennessee play, somebody out of the SEC as opposed to playing Kent State. I
Yeah.
think all fans would want that. But if you're Greg Sankey and you're these SEC coaches, Nick Saban literally warned us of this when he became a part of the media. He did say, I, until the committee shows that strength of schedule truly matters, instead of just saying it matters, actually showing us with actions that it matters, they're not going to do it. They're going to keep the 8-game conference schedule, and they're going to keep playing the Mercers and the Tennessee Techs and whoever else. And I don't blame them one damn bit.
Yeah.
I really don't. And that's a shame.
Yep.
Uh, so, yeah, right now they value wins, no matter who you've played, and they don't value strength of schedule at this moment. That's what this tells me.
Yeah.
Having Miami at 9 and Georgia at 12, I'm sorry, dude, but that's one of those things that it's really hard for me to take them serious at other places in these rankings.
Yeah.
Uh, Indiana at 5 tells me they at least obviously respect the fact that Indiana is just bludgeoning about everybody they've played except Michigan this past week, which again is hilarious. The game that they looked the most mortal in, they jump 3 spots after that game. Talk to me,
Yeah.
man. I need you to help me out here because I'm thinking about taking a bite out of this microphone.
Yeah. I mean,
Mm.
we've been one of the ones pounding the drum for Indiana, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it doesn't change the fact that we think they're a good team, but we think a lot of teams are good. And, I'm interested to see what Greg McElroy says. But they just don't, I don't know. It's hard for me to believe that, yeah, like you said, they moved up 3 spots. I'm going to pull up right now, if you're still watching.
Yeah, we got quite a few folks watching on X. I
Yeah.
didn't look at the other one. So hey, appreciate you guys joining us. Just a couple of dudes here, love talking some ball. If you've got some reactions that you want to share, tweet at us, hit us up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's what's that Twitter account at BCS Know How? Is that
At
what it's called?
BCS Know How. So they're usually, I mean, last week they were pretty in line
Yeah.
with mirroring, using the BCS computers and mirroring the College Football Playoff Committee. And you could see, honestly, the BCS computers have Indiana at 5, so they're not really laughing at that. They've got Tennessee at 6 and BYU at 7. Notre Dame 8. But again, here's where it comes in. The computers have Georgia over Ole Miss, so clearly the computers don't know that Georgia just got waxed by Ole Miss. And then Miami all the way down there at number 12.
Yeah, and I promise you the Georgia over Ole Miss thing, yes, they just got shellacked, but that has everything to do with the numbers and metrics of Georgia's strength of schedule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That Georgia played Clemson in the non-conference, Ole Miss played Wake Forest.
Yep.
So I think that was the best team that Ole Miss played in non-conference play.
Yep.
So, I
I
mean,
I sent out a tweet and I sent it to you. We were talking about Kelly Ford's power ratings and how I think a better way to do strength of schedule would be to look at the power ratings of the FBS opponents he played so far and see how strong they are. And it pretty much correlates with strength of schedule, but obviously Georgia's number is staggering. It's a 15.08. I did the top 15 teams. It was 15.08. And for reference, the 15th team, Boise State, was negative 2.53 was their average power rating. Go to @KFord ratings, check out his power ratings. But Alabama, second strength of schedule. You got Miami down there at 10th, but with an average power rating of 2.69. So just over 12 points on the field less than Georgia's average opponent.
yeah, again, man, Miami was ranked behind Georgia.
And we love Indiana, but you have negative 0.049 as your average power rating.
Yeah. Yeah. This is shaping up to be very interesting, man, as far as pissing off some of these commissioners and these coaches as far as how they're going to schedule moving forward if this continues
Yeah.
this way moving forward. And if you're listening right now and you think that we're trying to be biased for the SEC, whatever, like, again, you just obviously haven't been listening to our show as much. We have been pounding the drum for Indiana since way back in the summer when we did our Big Ten preview and talked about Coach Siggs and his past and all the things that he had done as an assistant at Alabama and NC State and how good Indiana was going to be. going into this. There's our boy Josh Collins. What's up, Josh? Absolutely electric, brother. Absolutely electric. Uh, tell your dogs get a dub this week, bro.
Yeah.
They need one.
Yeah.
God, what a guy, man. Oh, Josh, look at him popping in here on the live
Yeah.
show. So, gosh, it made me lose train of thought. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So Miami was ranked ahead. I mean, Georgia was ranked ahead of Miami. Them falling back like that, that's a joke. Uh, still can't get past that. So,
All
all
right.
right. So basically, if
Let's pull up the whole rankings. How about that?
yeah, let's pull it up. Pull it
Okay.
up. I want to talk about some scenarios here. That all right, good stuff. Is that an on three graphic? Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's the quickest one I could find. Shout out to
No, they're
On3.
good, man. They're
Yep.
good at their
Yep.
graphics. I love it. That's clean. All right, so let's discuss. I want to start with one that you brought up this past week that I think was pretty spot on, bro. That everybody assumes, including me before you brought it up, that the Big 12 is only getting one team in. And rightfully so. I think a lot of people would assume that.
Mm-hmm.
So BYU's at number 6 right now.
Mm-hmm.
You said what if BYU were to go undefeated in the
Yep.
regular season and whoever they play in the Big 12 title? Right now it's Colorado if Colorado wins out. And they have an absolute just battle in the Big 12 championship game against the Buffs and lose.
Mm-hmm. They're absolutely in.
I would think so too, man.
Yeah.
I would think so too. And in that case, if they're trying to put 2 ACC teams in, I don't think they're going to. Dude, there's no way they put 2 ACC and 2 Big 12. I don't think that's going to happen.
It's just, I mean, again, they put it Miami at 9, but it looks impossible for the ACC to get 2 teams in because
I agree.
Miami and SMU are tracking to play in the ACC championship game.
Mm-hmm.
And it would just be a winner take all game. I mean, Clemson's down there at 20, Louisville's at 19.
I mean,
It was just,
let me give you another one here. Same scenario, but a person pointed this out on X to us earlier today when we were talking about this. The video that we put out on X and TikTok and Instagram, that reel that we put out talking about this, the Indiana and BYU and Miami and such, and really the BYU stuff. What if, like for BYU, it gets even better for them? SMU just winning like right now looks so much better for. But what if SMU does win the ACC championship? And BYU is that team that loses, like, again, a really close game like that. They would now have a team in. Obviously, SMU gets the automatic berth in that spot. But again, the 2 ACC team, like scenario that we're talking about, I don't think if SMU were to win out and then lose in the ACC championship game, I don't see how they could be in.
nope.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, I think
and they're definitely not going to be in over BYU if BYU were to lose in the Big 12 championship game because BYU beat SMU at SMU.
Yeah, no, ACC is going to get one team in. But BYU, if they make it to 12-0, which is going to be tough, they got Kansas this week. It's going to be tough. I think if they make it to 12-0, regardless of what happens in the Big 12 championship game, I think they're in. I mean, we saw even at a 4-team playoff, TCU lose to Kansas State in the Big 12, and
they still got in.
They still got in.
And BYU, everybody was trying to compare Indiana to that TCU team. Nope. It's BYU, man. BYU's the team that's going through these games, close games against the Baylors and against the Utahs and teams like that, and they're escaping at the end. Indiana's just, bending people over and spanking them week in and week out, except Michigan this past week.
Yeah.
I'm just going to bring it up. Any chance at all, man, what would have to happen for Army? What would have to happen for Army? Like, obviously, they'd have to go undefeated. Beating a Notre Dame would obviously go a long way for that. And they'd have to win their conference. So they have to beat Notre Dame, have to win their conference. But does Boise have to lose for that, obviously?
So here's something I think we're just like overlooking is the fact that, correct me if I'm wrong, it's the highest ranked G5 conference champion.
Mm-hmm.
So Boise State has to win the Mountain West Championship. If they go and they lose that, and Army wins the American Conference Championship,
there you go.
Even with a loss to Notre Dame,
there it is.
They're going to be a conference champion, and Army will get that spot, correct?
Yep. Yeah. I'm gonna pull up the American standings because that team sitting right behind them,
right
now, my boy John Sumrall, who should be coaching a pretty high level Power 4 program right now. But if the Green Wave in those gorgeous uniforms went out, I'm looking at the standings now in the America. Oh yeah, it's Tulane's undefeated, baby, in conference play. Come on now.
Yeah.
So the Black Knights and Army and Tulane look like they're on a collision course. I'm looking at Tulane, who they snag next. Ooh, they play at Navy this weekend.
Yeah.
That could be, and they played Memphis, so they've got two brutal games back to back.
Yeah. We had an Emily Barton chime in and say, I feel like things just got so messy with this 12-team playoff versus the 4.
Absolutely, y'all. Emily Barton, I absolutely outkicked my coverage with that gorgeous gal. She's beat me in our pick'em thing right now too, man. She's loving it. She's
Yeah.
loving it.
I'm sure.
But no, seriously, Tulane, if the way it's set up now, yeah, you're right, dude. If Boise doesn't win the Mountain West and they were to get beat, then the collision course right now that it looks that Tulane and Army are on, that could be your representative.
Yeah. Yep. So, I
Ooh.
mean, yeah, it's just not a given that if Boise State were to play UNLV, they lose that game and they drop to 17, and Army's still ranked 22nd, right? If Army loses or Tulane doesn't make it, right, they're not a conference champion. I mean, you're only looking at a couple other conferences, right? You got Sun Belt. Of course, I guess maybe UNLV gets that spot. Maybe if they creep into the rankings, maybe that
They'd have to
happens. I don't
rank
know.
somebody, right?
Right.
I haven't really thought about that scenario, but they'd have to rank somebody, I would
Yeah.
assume.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, oh, dude. So Colorado State is the team in the Mountain West that currently actually controls their own destiny to make it to the. Yeah,
Yeah.
UNLV needs a Colorado State loss, bro.
That's Texas's best one on the year.
It's either Diego Pavia in the old doors, or it's it's Colorado State. So
Yeah.
Colorado State has Wyoming at home. At Fresno could be tough, and then they get Utah State at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, if Boise gets Colorado State, man, in the conference championship game, that's a look at this production, bro.
Yeah, man.
Let's go.
Just bringing them up.
Beautiful.
So Georgia first team out. Wow, that is shocking. I don't think we can just reiterate enough. We'll just keep talking about it. Miami over Georgia is flat out incredible.
Yeah. For any new people that's joined, Georgia was number 3 last week in the rankings, and Miami was number 4 in the rankings. And Miami lost to horrible Georgia Tech and only dropped to number 9. And Georgia lost to the team that this committee has ranked at number 11 in the country on the road in their house. Got spanked, but still, Georgia has the number 1 ranked strength of schedule in the country, and they dropped them all the way to 12.
Mm-hmm.
Yikes. Bama goes on the road to the daunted Baton Rouge at night, Tiger Stadium. They got live tigers in that freaking place, dude. And Bama just runs over them with Jalen Milroe. And the defense just, I don't count, dude. That touchdown that they scored against the backups for Alabama at the end of the game, get that out of here.
Yeah.
They held LSU, the first team defense for Alabama held LSU to 0 touchdowns in that game, and they moved up 1 spot.
Yeah.
And they've got and Alabama's strength of schedule is also very strong.
Yeah. Real quick, I was on my phone. I bet Georgia -10 against Tennessee. I mean, if you don't think Kirby is going to
Ooh, dude,
tell his team that they're not even putting them in the playoff right now,
I'm with you. I'm gonna call my shot right now. I'm with you. Let's go. I'm with you. Josh Collins, if you're still watching and still listening, the boys here are backing your dogs this week. We'll lay the 9.5, 10.
yeah, I bet at -10.
I'm gonna take him 9.5. I don't know
Questions
what
are surrounding Nico, whether or not he's going to be able to play. So,
Yeah.
It's a bounce back spot for Georgia. Their offense truly scares me against Tennessee's defense. But if Nico doesn't, and if he ends up not playing in that game, it's almost a
I
lock
think
that
even
Georgia
with
wins
Nico,
that.
man, that Tennessee's gonna have a tough time scoring.
Yeah.
I do. But I like it, man. I like it. You're right. Kirby will have them thinking that they're ranked 100th.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk about another scenario here. Penn State at 4 right now
That's
with no good wins,
no good wins.
0 good wins. Texas is 3 with also no good wins.
I'll give Penn State credit on the power ratings, ranked strength of schedule. They do have a stronger strength of schedule than BYU, than Texas, and that's than Miami, SMU. They got a stronger, excuse me, strength of schedule than Ohio State. They just lost to Ohio State, which is the only
Right.
team that they really played. So,
Yeah.
and they're just behind the power ratings to Tennessee. So it's not that far off. I think kind of just looking at it and the fact that they lost their big game like they do every year.
Yeah.
They've got some decent wins. They, the Bowling Green win is propping them up because they're highly power rated in the MAC. West Virginia's popping up. Yeah,
There's
that's
people
all.
listening,
That's all
man.
I can
There's
grab.
people listening that just threw their phone when you just said that.
I mean, Illinois. Like I'm trying to find anything here, guys.
Oh man. No, I look, here's the thing. I don't think you can anybody can just defend Texas and Penn State resume wise at the moment or Indiana. It's just flat out, do you think like I sent my rankings to somebody today of how I would do these and my buddy Jake and he sent back uh is there a reason you like why do you have Texas where you have them? You just think they're better than such and such? And I said, yeah.
Yeah,
That's really all. No, he was asking me why I had Texas ahead of Tennessee because Tennessee obviously has the win against Bama.
yeah.
He said, "You just think Texas is better?" And or I test, and I said, "Yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, I don't really have any resume stuff to back it up." But yeah, if you Penn State at 4, I would love to hear the committee actually say like their resume sucks. We just had them at 4 because we think they're one of the 4 best teams. Sure, okay, then say that.
If you
Have the
say
guts
that,
to
then I
not
want
say
to
it.
hear your justification on Miami over Alabama, Ole Miss, and Georgia.
Agreed.
Because like you don't have the resume. I don't think anybody thinks Miami's better than those 3 teams.
No.
So what is it that puts Miami at number 9? Is it the fact that they skated by the skin of their teeth and they won 3 games they probably shouldn't have? I mean, I don't know, right?
Yeah, they skated by against Cal. They skated by against Virginia Tech.
Duke.
Duke.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean they
the
ended up
Final
winning that
Four ended
game
up
by like,
being, yeah.
but still they were sitting there in the late in the third, early in the fourth quarter in a war with Duke. Oh me. All right, I want another one here because you've actually been harder on them than even me. I mean, I ain't even really been hard on them, but you've actually been hard against your boys,
Yeah.
against your Irish and Notre Dame. I mean, you had a good point. You said last week, obviously, other than that stupid Northern Illinois crap that happened, they're doing the same thing Indiana's doing. They're
Yeah.
playing teams that aren't very good, and they're destroying them,
Mm-hmm.
beating people by 40 plus week in and week out.
Yeah, I think their average score of their last 5 or 6 games is like 46-9. So like, yeah, they're taking care of business. They're not playing anybody. I mean, they do have a really good win over Louisville, apparently, and obviously Texas A&M. Those are good wins. Yeah, the Northern Illinois loss just keeps dragging them down because obviously if they'd won that game, they'd be challenging Oregon right now for number 1 in the country because they probably have better wins total than Oregon does. But yeah, their strength of schedule, it's not what it should be for a Notre Dame program. I mean, who's traditionally scheduled strong teams. And ever since they got the whole deal with the ACC, it's really kind of weighing them down. And I think they're stuck with that for at least another 11 to 13 years, something like that. So, but again, with Notre Dame, obviously the brand helps. Obviously, beating teams by an average of 37 points helps.
Yeah.
And if they just take care of business as 22-point favorites against Virginia, and if they go to Yankee Stadium and they take care of business as 12 to 13-point favorites over Army, they go to the Coliseum as probably a touchdown favorite against USC, they're going to be in.
Yeah. I'm just thinking on my head right now,
And they're
man.
going to host
Like,
the game. They're going to host the first round game for sure.
yeah, they are. They really are. Uh, I mean,
I mean,
dude, by the way, if Bama plays at Indiana, your boys coming to Zionsville, Indiana,
yeah.
and we're hopping in that tundra and heading to
Yeah.
heading to Bloomington. You know that, right?
Oh yeah.
Have to
I'm
dress
down
really
for it.
warm,
Yeah.
but really
Ga-
warm.
Right now, games in Bloomington and State College,
Whew.
heck, even Knoxville,
Yeah.
Columbus. I mean, those are going to be, you're going to be messing with the weather a lot in those games right now. Obviously, I don't think Tennessee's going to stay there.
No.
Penn State, unless they absolutely blow it against Minnesota in 12 days, they look like to be pretty sure lock there. Indiana, obviously, we don't know what the committee's going to do with them if they lose to Ohio State in 11 days. And
Well, time out. Time out. I don't mean to cut you off, but let's go there right now. We said that if Indiana was at 6, we talked about this like earlier today when you and I talked on the phone, that if they have Indiana at 6, that it might be tough to drop them if they were to lose if they go to Columbus and are in a battle versus the Buckeyes in the shoe. I I don't know that they would drop them all the way from 6 to being the first team out at 12.
yeah,
I don't know that they would do that.
I mean, they did just
They're at
drop,
5, bro.
they did just drop Georgia 9 spots.
Well, I'm gonna tell you the answer to that. It's obvious, man, that they're doing that stupid stuff that, unless I'm mistaken, there isn't anybody. BYU's the only one that's undefeated in the top whatever that's ranked behind one-loss teams, right? Well, Indiana's obviously they're undefeated, ranked behind Penn State.
Yeah. Ohio
Uh,
State, Texas, and Penn State all have one loss.
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean,
but
Penn State just clearly just was not punished at all for that Ohio State loss.
zero punishment. Yep, agreed.
A home loss. I mean, that's unbelievable to me.
It is, and again, I've heard people, and I've even said it, talked about how, well, Penn State, it really wasn't that bad. They only lost by what was it, 7,
Yeah.
something like, but and they were inside the whatever, first and goal multiple times and didn't get in. Well, I've been saying that, and I've heard a lot of other people say that, but I've also haven't heard a lot of people talk about how literally Will Howard going into
Yeah.
the end zone, fumble the ball through the end zone.
Yeah, dude. I mean,
That's
that should
another
have been a three
touchdown.
touchdown win.
Right. Uh, so
So yeah, Indiana. I mean, to your point,
if they lose a close game to Ohio State, I don't think they're dropping out, man.
no,
I
yes,
really
it
don't.
all depends on how they lose. If they lose 28-10, like Georgia just did to Ole Miss, then
They could.
okay, we'll see.
They could. Yep. If it's a really close game and they play well and they lose, however the game, like I was talking to somebody the other day, what if they lose by double digits? And I said, well, it depends. Like if it's a 7-point game and the Buckeyes punch one in like really late or something like
Mhm.
that, that's not a 14-point dominant victory. Like
Right.
you can watch the game with your freaking eyeballs and tell if Indiana's no way near as good as Ohio State during that
Yeah.
game. You'll be able
Yeah.
to tell that, obviously, when you watch the game.
Yeah.
And if that ends up being a war, or if Indiana looks like a legit squad in the shoe against the Buckeyes, then yeah, they
Yeah.
may not. They may not drop far enough to be out.
Yep. So you got 4 SEC teams, you got 4 Big Ten teams, G5, Notre Dame, and 1 Big 12.
Yep.
All right, and ACC. So one
Yep.
ACC, 1 Big 12, 4, 4, and 1. So
And this
that
is
is
what the people that were basically arguing with me on X earlier today when I took control of the account and was kind of going off the hinges as people talking about stuff. They were saying that there's not going to be more than 4 SEC teams in. And their reasoning was is they said they'll have 4 Big Ten, 4 SEC, and basically they're going to divvy it up.
yeah.
And I'm like, see, that's the problem I have with this. It shouldn't be about that.
Yeah.
And I would say the same thing if, like, the example I was going to use is like USC, for example. They played a tough schedule. If USC was sitting there in the Big Ten as a 2-loss team and ended up 10-2, I'd be pounding the desk for them too. That the strength of schedule that they played and the tougher teams that they played, they challenged themselves out of conference with LSU. If they're sitting there at 10-2, absolutely put them in over 11-1, somebody that hasn't played a soul. It has nothing to do with the fact that I'm a fan of a team in the SEC. I would say the same thing if it was a team in another conference, just like we just said with BYU. Whether people think that I'll say it. I don't think BYU is better than certain teams that are in the SEC or certain teams that are in the Big Ten. I don't.
Yeah.
But because their resume and they do have good wins, and at the end of the year, if they go 12-0 in conference play, with probably at that point that would be like 3 ranked wins, and they go undefeated in conference play, and they lose a really close game in the Big
Yeah.
12 championship game, yeah, put them in. I don't have any
Yeah.
issue with that.
Yeah. I mean, think of all the parity we've had so far in the 2024 season. We've talked about it since the summer.
Yeah.
And so part of me thinks like it would just be like if you have so much parity, I mean, I think you have what? SMU is leading the conference right now in the ACC. You got BYU, you got A&M up there in the SEC, you got Indiana, and Indiana was picked to finish 17th in the Big Ten. A&M was middle of the pack. I know BYU, their win total was what, 4.5, 5.5. They were picked
Yeah.
low.
Yeah.
SMU, first time in the conference, probably fifth or sixth in the conference. So you have all that parity, and why would you throw that away once the college football playoff hits and just put in the brands, right? I mean, I know again, we can just talk about if we're going to put in the best teams, like why, who we think the best teams are. What do you mean, like who do we think the best teams are? Like, who would you rather see play in the college football playoff? Like an 11-1 Indiana or like a 9-3 LSU?
Oh, in that case, I'd rather see 11-1. I'd rather see 11-1 Indiana
Yeah, I
in that
mean,
case, in that scenario. But again, the
which
problem,
again, LSU can easily, I mean, not easily, but they have a very realistic path because they only have 2 conference losses to make the SEC championship game.
right? But I mean,
So,
a 3-loss LSU wins the SEC championship. Obviously, they're getting in, but they would
right.
deserve to get in as well.
But if they lose that, they're 9-4, probably not getting
Correct.
in.
Correct.
Okay, so like a 9-3 Texas A&M or an 11-1 Indiana.
Obviously, 11-1 Indiana.
Yeah, so it's like again a 11-1 Indiana or 9-3 Alabama.
Probably 11-1. I was going. I've already told you this. There's
Oh,
only
you
two
thought about it. You
teams.
thought
There,
about it, folks.
but look, there are 2 teams, only 2, that if they went 9-3, their strength of schedule would warrant a discussion of being in the playoff, and that's Alabama and Georgia. Am
Mhm.
I wrong on that?
No.
Right. I'm just saying by the fact of who they played and their strength of schedule, wins, all of that. Like right now, South Carolina is just making Alabama to someone like Alabama and Ole Miss look better and better. If South Carolina continues to win, and they went out and go 9-3 with wins over Clemson and a beatdown over Texas A&M, they're going to continue moving up and make that win look better and better.
Yeah.
Uh, to Heather Dinich's point, I think it is interesting that Heather Dinich has pointed out on ESPN multiple times. She did it on McElroy, not McElroy, but McAfee today, that a 9-3 team has been in the committee's top 10, and every single on Selection Sunday, there's been a 9-3 team in the committee's top 10 every single year.
Mhm.
Now, my counter to that would be that they've never had to worry about, because they're not sitting there worried about who they're really ranking at
Yeah.
9 or 10 when there was a 14 playoff.
Right.
Now they're obviously very worried about who they're putting at 1 through 12 for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
So I don't think there'll be a 3-loss team get in. There'd have to be some chaos
Mhm.
for that to happen.
Yeah.
Last thing I want to mention, because I meant to mention this a minute ago with Penn State. So I think even if Penn State, what if Penn State were to lose to Minnesota, do you think that they'd be out?
Yeah, they should be.
They should be.
I mean, if you're going to punish Georgia for losing to a ranked team on the road 9 spots, then yeah, you should definitely punish. Well, again, Miami, they lost to an unranked team and they moved down 5 spots. Make it make sense. But in our bracket here, we don't have Penn State. They were number 11, I believe, or number 12.
We had them ranked number 11, I believe.
Yeah, they're number 11. We didn't have Miami or Boise State in our top 12, and so they get the automatic spots there. So then Ole Miss would be the first team out in our bracket.
Do you have the ranking that we
Yeah.
did, our consensus? Show
Yeah.
that. We'll show that first, and then we can show the bracket of what we had.
Yeah.
Any action on Twitter or anything? Anybody commenting?
Did not see
I'm looking.
anything.
I'll look while you're doing that.
So there is
Slip.
our rankings.
Hey, Slip said, "Tell Tyler we'll get to meet old Slip if we head to Indiana. Tell him I'll bring the bootlicker."
Yeah. Yep.
What's that spot, man? That's got those delicious fries.
Nick's English Hut.
Nick's English Hut, dude. Let me
Think the
promise
biz.
you, if the tides in Bloomington, we will destroy some Nick's English Hut. They won't have enough beer in there, man.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. So these are our rankings. We released them. Was it yesterday?
Yep.
Released them yesterday. So as you can see, ours are better. Uh,
More accurate, that's for sure. I know Miami and Penn State down at 11.
yep. I'm sure people would probably think that's egregious that we've got Penn State at 11. That's fine.
We kind of nailed. I mean, IU's up there, BYU, Tennessee, Alabama, Ole Miss, Notre
Yep.
Dame. I mean, we still had Georgia. We still got a little bit of respect for Georgia there. We had A&M probably a little higher than most, but
Yep.
um, I just I try to
I think
have
SMU has more of an argument over Miami. You pointed that out. SMU may have more of an argument to be ranked at 12 over A&M than Miami does.
again, who's Miami's best win?
I guess it would be Louisville at this point, but
Okay.
SMU also beat them as well.
SMU beat Louisville. SMU also has a win over Pitt, who has just fallen off, but at the time they were ranked. And again, if they're talking about good losses when they compared Ohio State to Georgia last week, you're talking about BYU's loss or SMU's loss to BYU,
By 3
who
points.
is number 6, and then Miami is lost to Georgia Tech.
Yep. Yes,
I
SMU has
I have
better
no
wins.
idea what's going on with Miami.
I don't either. All right, so here's our rankings. Throw out the throw up that good looking bracket that you be putting out. I love it,
Yeah.
man.
Let's see here.
Here it comes. All right, so based off our rankings, here would be the bracket. Obviously, top group, the top ranked conference champions get the first 4 spots.
Yep.
So that's why we didn't have Miami in our top 12, but we had Miami ranked ahead of Boise at the moment. So Miami gets the 4th spot. That's a good place to start as well. That's another place to bring up as well. I think some people are starting to wake up and realize that there's a chance that Boise really could be the 4th highest ranked conference champion.
Yeah, if Colorado ends up winning the Big 12, will they jump Boise or will Boise continue to rise? Again, if SMU, they're ranked behind them now, would they jump them?
I think SMU probably would because they think a lot of Miami. So if SMU were to get to the ACC championship game, beat Miami, I could see that. I could see that, but the Colorado thing would be interesting. Being as far back as they are currently,
Yeah.
with Colorado in their rankings? I think we're like 17 this week or something.
Yep, 17th.
17. So yeah, they could jump. They could jump Boise,
They got
especially if
Coach
Boise's.
Prime effect.
Yeah, well, dude, I mean, if Boise's playing Colorado State in their conference championship game, I mean, I don't know how much credence you're giving to Boise for beating Colorado State when
Boise's got San Jose State left, which they're 2 touchdown favorite. They got Wyoming. They should win that. Then they get Oregon State. So at least the Oregon State game at the end of the year will help them, prop up that strength of schedule a little bit. It's a quasi P4 team still, right? So
yeah, I guess. But I think if Colorado beat an undefeated BYU, Colorado wins out and then beats an undefeated BYU, I think they jump Boise. Some people may not like that, but I think that's probably what would end up happening in that scenario.
SMU's got Boston College, Virginia, and California, so they should take care of business. Miami's still got that game at the Carrier Dome.
And with the way their defense plays, man, I mean, Kyle McCord and that offense again, we still call it the Carrier Dome. We will forever call it the Carrier Dome. We will not be calling it the JMA Wireless Dome or whatever the new name of it is.
Yep.
Just like Pitt still plays at Heinz Field. I don't care what they call it anymore. It's still the mustard bottle.
Yep. Ketchup,
whatever. All right, man. I don't really have anything else to add. I think the most egregious thing was Miami.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's no doubt about it.
Who predicted that earlier today?
On 3.
Props on 3. We did not see that one coming. We thought there was no way, but again, the committee must be seeing something in Miami that nobody else is seeing, especially the BCS computers, all that. I mean,
Cam Ward and a great offense. They got a great offense in Cam Ward.
I guess you want to maybe get the Heisman winner in the playoff. Potential Heisman winner in the playoff. He didn't look great. I mean, his stock definitely took a hit, but If you got
I'm
him,
starting.
you got Travis Hunter, you got Ashton Genty all in the playoff. That's great, right?
Yeah, I guess. I guess.
Yeah.
Well, I honestly didn't think that we'd be sitting here in the second CFP release rankings that we'd be getting this fired up.
Yeah.
But here we are. Well,
Yep. I'm gonna
hey
have to
man,
watch it back and see if I can get peruse the X and see if I can get McElroy's comments, Joey Galloway, see if Joey Galloway actually gave a crap this week, um, or if he just kind of says we got 4 more rankings to go until we crown a playoff. So we'll see, man. But gosh, this was fun. Appreciate everybody hopping on.
so you gave out a best bet on live on this show today with Georgia -10, right?
Georgia -10. It was just like I saw someone say Kirby's gonna just explode and he's going to tell his players they're not even putting you in the playoff right now after that loss. Like, think about that. And Kirby's the master motivator. And Nico has questions around Nico playing or not. So it's at home, night game in Athens. Why
I'm
not?
with you. I'm taking it at 9.5 though, but
Shoot
I'm
your
with you.
shot.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm gonna take him at 9.5 though.
Yeah.
And Tennessee's defense is legit. That defensive line is as nasty as it gets. Tons of depth.
Hmm.
Really good running game with Dylan Sampson. I don't think that no matter who it is, that you're just going to line up and run the ball down Georgia's throat. Maybe I'll be proved wrong
Yeah.
this weekend about that.
Yeah.
There's Josh. He jumped in there. Absolutely electric. Absolutely our boy.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm with you on Georgia -9.5. I just think the back against the wall, wounded animal, the motivator that Kirby is. Uh, that team that showed up like a bunch of sharks in blood infested waters in Austin, Texas, I think will be what you'll see in Athens. And then they'll have 100,000 people behind them also feeling the same exact way, liquored up from all them hundreds of bars there within 2 blocks of each other there in Athens. That'll be a scene, man, Saturday
Yeah.
night. And Tennessee will need every bit of that defense. But I think even if Nico is healthy and Nico plays, I mean, well, we haven't seen much from Tennessee's offense yet. But if he does play, if Nico does play, the rumors are that he may not. We don't know for sure. There's rumors about it.
Yeah.
Chris the Bear Felica spread it. But if Nico is 100% healthy, or if he plays in that game, I still don't know that they're going to take it to Georgia in that spot.
I tend to think about Bear and what he says. I mean, I saw someone comment about the local beat writers there in Knoxville not knowing anything, but Bear is connected to people in Vegas.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times people in Vegas figure out stuff way quicker than your dinky little Knoxville reporter guy. No offense to the journalists out there, but you know,
I saw people spreading conspiracy theories on X as well. That what if Bear is spreading rumors to move lines? I don't think he would do that, man. I don't know. I don't know the guy
yeah,
at all, but I don't
yeah,
think he would. I don't think he. Surely he wouldn't do that.
yeah,
But either way, don't really care. Like I already liked Georgia
yeah,
anyway. If Nico was playing, if he's not
yep,
playing, I obviously like Georgia even more
yeah,
in this spot.
yep.
But yeah,
That's it,
go ahead.
man. That's
Yeah.
it for us. We appreciate. We're gonna do this again next week. Jump on live. We'll be back on Friday morning with our week 12. Is that right already? Week 12. Week 12 preview. We're gonna preview obviously Tennessee and Georgia. And then we're gonna scrounge, man. We're gonna scrounge through the schedule and try to find a couple more games to talk about. But it's slim pickings this week. So join us again. Thank you guys again for tuning in live. We appreciate it. Share the podcast if you liked it. That's awesome. Give us a comment. Give us a like. It's great. Find us on Apple, Spotify, and YouTube, all the social media, and continue the interaction. It's awesome. So we'll see you back on Friday. Bro.
There were 294 people on Twitter at the end.
I know. Well, I don't know. Do you think that's live or do you think that's total views?
I don't know.
because it's still going live right now. Oh, wait, hold on. It's updating. I mean, it's probably over.